His name, Merlin.
Alright, what's going on, knights, lords, and sorcerers slash enchantresses all over Camelot? Welcome back to the Merlin Weekly Reviews, where we're covering the Queen of Hearts.
You're the Queen of Hearts, make me your king, you'll be the diamond.
I'm trying this new thing out with the reviews like I did last time. You guys like what I'm doing so far? I hope so. So, episode 10, Queen of Hearts, like I said before. This one is where the salt kind of starts to build up. Although it's still a great episode, but let's get into the plot synopsis. So, of course, we have the ship of Arthur x Guinevere still going strongly, with them going on dates and whatnot, confessing their love, as you do when you're a young lover. And in Camelot. And basically having the time of your life. Where all of a sudden, Daddy Dearest is led to you by Thesaurus Morgana, after being coerced by Morgause to do something because she had a powerful vision of one day Guinevere being Queen of Camelot. And then Thesaurus leads Father all the way towards a conflict with Arthur and Guinevere, where they're apparently an enchantment type relationship, and for that reason Gwen is going to be put to burn at the stake until Merlin decides to put on his old man guise, as he has given the name to it of Dragoon the Great, where hijinks then ensue to ensure that Arthur and Gwen see another day in their ship, and Morgana can still be a bitch with a salty, very dried up. Needless to say, though, my salt for this episode is because this is basically how the formula kind of felt to me as an episode. It's like the writers took all the things that were supposed to be a big element for surprise and intrigue for how they could do a whole why Morgana wants to kill Arthur to get the throne. And instead just decide to throw more into the whole big well of the Arthurian lore, just grab the most common of tropes. Make sure that Gwen is the damsel in distress, like in a couple of episodes prior to this episode. And so, in that case, it's kind of the most stupidest trope to pull to make sure a conflict happens. Making one lady that is a strong, independent, and very versatile in her emotions and actions be reduced to a damsel in distress because another woman is either jealous of the position of power that they'll have, is very envious over what another person is going to obtain due to having a relationship with said person, so forth and so on. It just drives my whole psyche into a whole downward spiral of why would you utilize this when you could have done so many other things. Having Morgause and Morgana try and manipulate the druids would have been a good element. Trying to do something where Uther is purposely trying to do an evil act to Arthur where he'll try to fight back against his father, leading into a very climactic duel. Having it so that Gwen is actually possessed, where it's Arthur choosing the kingdom or Gwen. It wouldn't be the damsel in distress because she'd be the puppet, as well as the villain of the week. I'm just saying they could have done a lot of things with this that would have made a more compelling episode. But conflict is the fucking conflict. We had to make the ship episode because the ship episode needs to be made because our shippers are drying out at sea. They want more of a waterfall effect so they can just be splashed. So then we go into the other part of this episode, like I brought up previously, of Merlin's old man guys of Dragoon the Great. Now, for those of you guys that have known Arthurian lore, the old man guys that Merlin does is how he's originally depicted in all the other stories from Arthurian lore. An older man, although in certain interpretations, as I found out recently, he was a demon-bred man that learned all the magical sciences and whatnot, and became just the almighty wizard that sometimes helped out Arthur because magical reasons. and so forth and so on, blah blah blah. But this is a good nod towards good continuity notes from where the source material comes from. Kind of like how Smallville did with the big reveal of the suit for Clark Kent, or how they're doing the stuff in Gotham where Bruce Wayne is starting to come more and more into his Batman roots than he is as Bruce Wayne roots. Although it is a nice mixture of the two. It's nice to have a nod towards source material like this, because then you can really see where the writers are throwing their passions in. They're not forsaking a lot of characters, and they're also trying to make sure they have good material as to what they could proceed with. And with this old man, guys, we finally get a little bit of what Merlin wishes that he could say to the royal family if he had the power to do so. Calling out Uther for just being the worst tyrant ever, where it's short of, "I wish you would die in the fiery pit of your own sins." And then calling out Arthur for being an arrogant asshole that's not really that thankful of the people around him and just mistreats them. It's a nice little way of trying to vent out your feelings when you're just trying to assert yourself to the boss and the boss's dad, and you wish you could, but you can't because you don't want to lose your job. So you have this alternate persona that does so in real life to say it straight to their faces. I like that. As well as it opening up the gates to more Dragoon the Great episodes. So, I have my problems with this episode because the whole damsel in distress method that leads into the Arthur-Gwen ship trying to become even stronger for the sake of writer's sake, even though we already know it's going strong. And I also like it because of the Dragoon of the Great thing. So, from that whole mindset, I'm kind of seeing this as an average show. It has its problems, for myself anyway. I enjoy what it's trying to do, but at the same fucking time, I am not impressed with trying to rehash stuff that has been prevalent so many times without any nuance to it. So if you guys want to watch this episode and then try to go in through the rest of the season, I could recommend it. I could see it. But I gotta gear up for episode 11 for next week. So to all my knights, lords, sorcerers, and enchantresses, I will see you all next Tuesday for more Merlin Weekly.